Welcome everyone to 2021's kickoff of Mentor Monday, FemSteamPtbo Mentor Monday. We're delighted to be here. I'm Sofie Andreou, one of the three wise women who co-founded Mentor Monday. I am trying to introduce my dog here, Ruby, for you, but she may have to be introduced later. She is a woman of her own mind. So Mentor Monday, we are here and excited to be introducing an exciting mentor to you today. Before we do that and we hear her story, and before we actually hear questions that a number of our grade 7 and 8 students in the area have put forward to her, I'd like to introduce you to our two co-founders, Rhonda and Dawn. Then I'm going to introduce you to two of our students who are here, who are questionnaires, like musketeers, who will be asking questions of our mentor after she finishes her talk. So over to Rhonda.
Thanks, Sofie, for kicking us off today. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're here to talk about girls in STEM and STEAM and the world of possibilities for your future when you keep the subjects of STEM in your horizon and look at non-traditional roles that you might have, you might think they're non-traditional, but we want to show you that they can be traditional and that the future can be different and bright, and that there's endless possibilities in exploring these subject matters that lead to really rewarding careers, like Jamie's going to talk about her carpentry trajectory today, and we're very excited about that. So I believe if you can see me, you can be me. That's my mantra. And so that's what Mentor Mondays are about. We want you to, through the course of the year, every first Monday of the month, see somebody new from our community and open your eyes to these possibilities. So excited to host you today.
Thank you, Rhonda. Hi, everyone. My name is Dawn, and I'm one of the co-founders of FemSteamPtbo. And I'll just take a moment to recognize the reality that you young students are probably facing. Perhaps you thought you would be in a classroom, but you're working from home and doing school online. And you being here today really shows your engagement, the support that you must have from your teachers, and your willingness to show resilience and still be involved in what your school has to offer. I find it interesting that for those of us who are adults and working from home, we too have to learn in a different way and engage. And you're already getting prepared for that future that you'll have. So we're delighted to be able to share content with you this way. And we're glad that you are here. So thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over either to Kate or to Sofie for the rest of our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Dawn. Yes, our three wise women. And it always takes a team. That's one of the things you'll learn when you're when you're listening or engaging with Mentor Mondays, is no one does this alone. It always takes a team. Figure out who your own mentors are, surrounding yourself by people of like minds, people that push you and make you the best you can be. And that's what I find Rhonda and Dawn do for me. They make me the best I can be. So thank you, you two. So talking about the best you can be, we have something in this city called the Innovation Cluster. They help young people become the best they can be in the area of starting their businesses. And because of them, we're here today in a way, because without them, they are a production coordinator. They've made sure that Jamie was contacted, and she is our mentor today. They made sure that our students were collaborating, all 50 schools across our 2 school boards and all the students at home. So they've helped be the production manager for this event. So I just want to say thank you so much. And Kate, I think you have a program coming up that you might want to introduce. Would you like to introduce that for us here?
Yeah, Thank you so much. So yeah, I'm Kate and I'm from the Innovation Cluster. And we're basically here to support FemSteamPtbo to really get the message out about the importance of STEM and STEAM within youth and young people, especially in female identified people. So we actually have a program. It is for people 18 and over, but I mean, if you know of anyone or you're interested sometime in the future, maybe, we have a new program that's launching today. Our second cohort applications open today for women breaking barriers. And this is a program designed for female identified entrepreneurs who are in STEM and social innovation to really accelerate their new businesses, to learn about all the ins and outs and to break down the barriers that women face in these industries. So we really help try to move the dial forward on getting female represented individuals in STEM and STEAM. And yeah, so we're really looking forward to our second cohort starting for the next 6 months. And if you know anyone interested, you can always head over to innovationcluster.ca or .com rather to check it out. So thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Kate. I think I was the presenter at one of your Breaking Barriers. Rhonda, I believe you were a presenter, the two of us actually, and it was, I heard the feedback from the women and very engaged women. I think they support each other. Again, this, you can't, you know, they really help each other become better than being alone. So it's a great advantage if you can take advantage of it and become one of the women in the Women Breaking Barriers program. Please take advantage of it. So I'd like to introduce our questionnaires, our musketeers, our questionnaires. Oh, and we have an animal. So Harley, you go first. Reagan's going to go get her animal.
Hi, I'm Harley. This is my cat, Fuzzy. I am originally from St. Francis of Assisi Elementary Catholic School, Newcastle, but due to COVID-19, I am online at St. Thomas Aquinas Virtual School.
And is this cat called Grumpy Cat?
No, her name's actually Fuzzy. She's a Persian, and we got her from a Persian breeder.
She's beautiful. Harley, thank you very much. You'll be hearing from Harley again towards the end when she's asking questions to Jamie. So our second questionnaire, or your musketeer.
Oh, I'm Reagan, and this is Isla. I'm from St. Aquinas Virtual School, and I originally come from Holy Family Elementary School.
Welcome. Thank you so much for doing that. I look forward to the four of you asking questions later. Okay, three. Oh, and she's off. Perfect. Thank you so much. Love it. So without any further ado, our main event today is hearing from our mentor. Mentor Mondays. The next one will be the first Monday in February, which Dawn is going to reminded me it was actually February 1st. I had the date wrong. So February 1st will be the next Mentor Monday. And today we'd like Jamee Ward, the one and only Jamee Ward, to introduce herself, talk a little bit about herself as far as what her journey was to get to where she is, what is it she's doing. She's going to tell you all that. And then Harley and Reagan have a number of questions that our students across Peterborough and the greater Peterborough area have put to us to ask Jamie. Thank you very much. Over to you, Jamie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jamee Ward. I live in Roseneath, Ontario. I am a student at Fleming College. I actually just finished my first part in the Carpentry program at Fleming College, and I'm about to start an apprenticeship. So I haven't really worked a whole lot in the carpentry industry, but I have previously I worked for Canadian National Railway. So I do have a lot of experience working in a more traditionally male dominated industries. I didn't really have anyone growing up other than my mom to kind of guide me or let me know that it was okay to work in a male dominated industry. So that's why this is really important for me to try to reach out to some younger people now. I don't know if you guys the questions kind of go in line with what I was going to talk about. So should we just ask the questions, or?
Jamie, when did you want to do your little PowerPoint presentation? Did you want to kick off with that, or you want to end with that?
I can start with that, and then maybe if that brings up any questions for anyone, if that works.
Why don't we have you just run through that, and then we'll have the girls ask their questions.
Okay, perfect. Oh no. Sorry, I thought it was at the beginning.
That's okay. We're getting a sneak preview, everyone.
Yeah. Quick slideshow. Okay, so I just kind of put this PowerPoint together to show you guys some of the stuff that I did while I was at Fleming College. On the first page, you can see scaffolding on the left. We did do a scaffolding program, which I don't think a lot of people really think about as far as carpentry, but scaffolding is part of safety, doing things safely. So it was good to learn that. And also online are all the programs or classes that I did while I was at Fleming. So I was very lucky to get into a program at Fleming that isn't the traditional carpenters program. It was actually a free government funded program to try to get more people into the trades. So there was hundreds of people that applied and 20 of us got in. So your carpentry programs are usually only 8 weeks, but mine was 12. So the first part of it was more about the portfolio communications, computer skills, all the, I guess, soft skills that you need to be in any industry, but it was definitely focused on trades, health and safety. And then as far as the actual courses that were more geared towards carpentry, we did a plumbing pre-app program, which was really good. It was just learning all the different types of materials you use in plumbing and the basics for plumbing. And we also had a welding class, which was interesting as well, to learn how to cut metal and do some basic welding. And then the two main things I really want to push is I had 2 math classes, and I know in high school, everyone thinks, or public school, you think math isn't maybe something you'll use, but you do use math even in carpentry and building things. So it's definitely something that I found. I've always loved math, but it's definitely something I think as some advice, pay attention in your math classes. And then my other classes, I spent a lot of time in the shop. You have theory and you actually have shop class, and Fleming has a beautiful brand new shop full of every tool you can imagine. They build mock houses right in the shop. There is a lot of stuff at Fleming. If you're interested in the trades, it's definitely a very good school to go to. And we also did a lot of theory, a lot of stuff on building codes and drawings, planning, estimating, calculating to figure out projects. So it's very, it's a very good program. The first program, you don't get into as much building house stuff. You start off at the basics. You start off with hand tools. You start off learning how to cut miter angles with a handsaw. So it can seem a little daunting in the beginning, but it's the basics, and that's what you need to start out. So I'm going to show you guys some pictures. These are from my plumbing class. So just you were given specifications to measure out and put your different plumbing materials together, which was really cool. This one is actually, we had to hand thread and cut black iron pipe, which is is very labor intensive, but it was definitely interesting to learn. They do have machines that they let us try after we did it by hand for a while. And this was just something that I made out of copper pipe and soldering. So this is the beginning of your time in the shop. You start off with a handsaw and hand tools, and you learn how to cut all the different angles. And as you can see by my gaps in between everything, it's not as easy as you think it would be. So it's definitely a good base to start at. Oops. And then we made our own sawhorse. And also in the bottom left corner, that's the only picture I have from my welding class, but that was from torch cutting metal, which is actually not as easy as it sounds to cut straight. So I was pretty proud of those. And then in the shop, you start off by building a toolbox, and you do this as well. You cut all your dovetails by hand. You can cut your actual boards with a saw, but all your dovetails and everything are cut by hand. So it's definitely a very good way to learn about working with different types of material. And the bottom middle picture is me turning my handle for my toolbox on the lathe. This was it was my first actual real project, so it was something I'm most proud of doing, and it was definitely a labor of love. And so that's my toolbox finished with my tools in it. And then we had to make a tool chest. I didn't really get any pictures from the beginning. On the right-hand side, I don't know if you guys can see or if it's cut off by me, but is the start of this tool chest. You start off by a box, and you do dovetails as well. And then you cut it open and add some drawers and put your front piece back on. So this was my other main project. And then my final project was a project of choice. So I chose to do a bench, and we had to, as part of one of our other classes, do all the drawings for your bench. You figure out how to do everything to scale, all your measurements, figure out all your materials that you need. You go buy your own materials and then put it all together. So unfortunately, I don't have mine done yet. I ran out of time. Hopefully, maybe once I get it done, I can throw a picture up on the FemSTEAM website so you guys can see, but this is the start of it. I had to join all my pieces together, run them through the planer. It was a lot of work, but hopefully once it's done, it will look nice, I hope anyways. So that's my slideshow for you guys.
Okay, thank you, Jamie, for giving us a window into your education and some of your really great projects. I think you've opened the eyes here today to the possibilities for future in carpentry. And now we're going to have some questions. Some of them will double up on what we've heard, but I think it's important to keep asking the questions because it's going to solidify for those listening, some really specific things about Jamie's journey. And we'll kind of, really give you a little bit more information and meat on the bones, as they say, in terms of, how you could have a trajectory like this. So we're going to kick it off with Harley with the first question.
Okay, so the first question is from Alexa and Grace. They ask, how old were you when you realized you wanted to do carpentry, and what inspired you to go back to school?
Okay, so I was probably, I'm trying to think, I'm 33. So it was probably 3 or 4 years ago that I actually decided I wanted to get into carpentry. I had been working at CN for 7 years, and I loved my job there, but it wasn't, I knew it wasn't exactly where I wanted to be. So I made a very hard choice to leave. And I was just kind of working with a friend on the side, helping him. He was a carpenter. I wasn't working for him, but on weekends I would go and help him with some projects. And I realized that was kind of something I would be interested in. And I got really interested in the whole aspect of it, the design. I think carpentry is where I'm starting, but I'm not sure if that's exactly where I'm going to end. I would love to get more into, I don't know, even the architecture and design of everything. So this is kind of a start for me. But yeah, I definitely, one thing I know is it's the world of social media nowadays, and I'm big on watching all the design and building shows and following people on Instagram. So, I mean, it's definitely something, if you're interested in a career, you have that opportunity to follow people nowadays and kind of get an insight into their world. So that definitely helped, I guess, guide me and give me some insight into that to help me decide that's where I was going to go.
Okay, great answer. I don't know if Dawn has been able to rejoin, so I'll carry on until I see her video come back on, but as my co-host here on the questions. Reagan, I think you have a question now.
Yes. So the second question's from Alexa, and she asks, what's your favorite thing to do at your job?
Okay, so because I'm not working right now, I guess I'll answer this based on my schooling. My favorite thing to do is the actual building, but I also enjoy the problem solving aspect of things and figuring out how everything goes together, looking at the different blueprints, and yeah, just the whole ability to be creative and see something and build it and build what you want. It's kind of it gives you a bit of freedom in that way to be creative in your own mind and work towards solving a problem. I think would probably be my favorite thing, I guess.
Okay, so a bunch of the questions are going to talk maybe about the word work, but let's assume that when we talk about work, it will be your academic experience at Fleming, and because that was essentially like work. For those that you haven't seen the skilled trades facility at Fleming, it's like it's set up like a very innovative construction site. It's quite beautiful, and I hope that you can all go and see that someday. So when we do ask Jamie these questions, she'll respond from that place, as she is just going to be starting her career, which is very exciting. So now, Harley, what would you like to say?
Our next question is also from Grace G and Alexa. They ask a couple questions. The first one is, are there any other females in your work? How do you feel when you see more guys than girls at your job? And how do you not think about being a girl in a job like yours?
Okay, so I'm going to start this by saying I don't not think about being a girl in my job. I'm not sure exactly what was meant by that, but I'll kind of try to explain this. As far as my schooling, there was 2 other girls in the program, which was really great to see, but still that's only 3 out of 20. And as far as in my previous career, when I worked at CN, there wasn't, I think when I started in my actual group, I was the only one out of 200 something people. So I'm used to being, I guess, a minority in that way. The best advice I can give you is to not think of these jobs as a gender-based job and go in it with your head held high and show these boys what you can do. One thing I will say is you have to, I'm trying to think the best way to say this, but you will get people that think that you shouldn't be there, and you just have to ignore them and prove yourself and prove that you can do things just as good as anyone else can. I think that's the biggest one. You're not there to make friends, so don't worry about what everyone thinks about you. Just you're there to do your job and to do something that makes you happy.
So maybe I'll just add a little color there. That was a really big question to unpack, lots of layers. So I'm going to give you some perspective nationally on women in trades. It's a subject matter that I work on every day. You know, women make up only maybe 5% of most trades, very underrepresented. However, these jobs have growing demand. That, you know, there's a great demand for talent across all trades. Women are really great at these jobs, and for the most place, workplaces have cleaned up workplace culture. They want women alongside them in these jobs. They want to be respecting of women. They have diversity programs. So as you're thinking about this for yourself, know that, you know, in the next 4 or 5 years, when you get to make choices for your career, there'll be even more work done on, you know, equity in the workplace. And I can just tell you that, you know, as Jamie is here to attest, even though she's one of the 5% or less in her class, you know, she's rocking it and she's going to have a really rewarding career. And yeah, there will be challenges, but companies are becoming much better tooled to deal with those issues and make sure that you are safe and successful in your career. And I'll say that at Fleming, certainly the program facility is set up to be open and collaborative. It's just a great place for young women to think and go and study trades. So we're going to have our next question now. I believe Reagan has the next question.
So the next question is by Alexa, and it's, how long were you in school to be a carpenter?
Okay, so basically there's all different programs you can take at Fleming. But as far as what I took, there's 3 levels to become a Red Seal carpenter. So there's your basic, intermediate, and advanced. So I've just took the basic, and it's normally an 8-week program. Mine was 12 because it was, I guess, a government. It was a little different. Usually you would work for a year as an apprentice and then go to school for 8 weeks and do your basic, and then you would be a certified level 1 carpenter, and then you would go back to work for about a year, go back to school for 8 weeks and become a level 2 carpenter, and then again work for about a year, and then you go back for 8 weeks and do your advanced schooling, and then you would write your I can't remember the exact, but you write your final test to become certified to become a Red Seal carpenter. But there is other programs as well at Fleming. There's a 2-year college program that is also for carpentry. So there is different options depending on what you want to do, whether you want to fast track it and start working right away and do the apprenticing, or whether you actually want to go to school for a couple of years and enjoy that college lifestyle.
So I see Dawn is back. So Dawn, we'll go back to alternating the questions, and I'll let you lead into Harley's question here.
Great. Thank you, Rhonda. I may just do a quick little segue and ask our mentor, in terms of the future, are you anticipating being like super busy with your work? And maybe then Harley, you jump in and ask your question too. Do you see a lot of opportunity at this point in time?
Yeah, I am definitely looking forward to it. I think there is a high demand for tradespeople right now, so I'm definitely hopeful and looking forward to it. I still don't know. I'm kind of debating maybe taking some other programs. I'm really interested in the design aspects behind carpentry as well. So I am debating maybe going to school for AutoCAD or a design program as well, because I would like to be able, I don't know, as far as as what I see in the end. I would like to follow through and finish my whole carpentry program, but I would like to bring something else to the table as well. So,
well, and that's a really great segue before Harley asks her question, which is, that's why we have STEAM. The A in STEAM and FemSteamPtbo is the arts. And when you say design, that's where it comes in. So you need that trade and the design, and that's where those two worlds come together. So thank you. You've just fulfilled our branding of FemSteamPtbo. Harley, I'll turn it over to you if you'd like to go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Our next question is from Sienna. She asks, which subjects do you have to take in order to become a carpenter?
okay, so I kind of showed you guys the classes that I took in college. As far as the classes that you need to take throughout high school, I think the only actual prerequisite is grade 10 or 11 math. But I would definitely recommend, I know there's OYAP programs for high school students, and maybe even your guys' age, I'm not sure, but there is definitely OYAP programs to kind of get your feet wet with the trades. I don't think this year, because of COVID, I'm not sure if they are running, but it's definitely would be a good thing to check out if you have any interest in the trades at all. It's a good way to kind of experience that. But as far as what you need, math is definitely your biggest thing that you'll need. And I would, if you have an artistic background or a creative background, that's definitely going to be something that will help you as well.
Let's talk a little bit more about that, Jamie, because I think that's a really important thing for the girls and boys on the call today, is staying engaged with mathematics. So what was your relationship with math at grade 7, 8, if you can remember, but at least in high school, what was your relationship with math? And, you know, what advice could you offer to the young people on the Zoom call today to stay engaged?
I always liked math, so it was something, I don't know. I did always do well. I shouldn't say always. Grade 9 was a terrible year for me, and starting high school, I think is hard for everyone to kind of transition into that. But once I got kind of past the first rough year, I did well in math. I enjoyed math. I remember looking back though and thinking that I would never probably use any of it, but you use a lot of math, especially in carpentry. Both semesters of my schooling I had math, and it was definitely I think it's definitely a priority, and it goes for any job that well, I shouldn't say any, but I would think anything in the trades you're going to use math to kind of figure out even your measuring angles and fractions. Everyone hates fractions. Fractions are a good one to definitely focus on. But yeah, if you have any interest in the trades, I would definitely pay attention to your math teachers.
Thank you for opening our eyes to that. I'm a math major myself, and it's, you know, I think it's the one area we're really trying to zero in on FemSteamPtbo is, you know, staying engaged with math, because I think math gets a bad rap, and I think girls start to think that it's not cool, or they're just not built for it, they're not good at it. But guess what? You are. Everybody can be good at math. And if you're not getting it, you know, find people that can help you get it, because it will find you everywhere in your life. Math is in money and finance jobs. Math is in, you know, architecture and engineering. Math is in all of the trades. I have a manufacturing facility, and all of my tradespeople use math every day, but they use practical applied math. And sometimes it gets a bit abstract and it's stretching your mind, but do your best to stay engaged with math, because it will really open your possibilities to all these jobs we're going to feature to you. Okay, enough of that. Reagan, I think you have the next question.
So the next question is, in carpentry, Is wood the material you work with?
So wood is definitely probably one of the most common materials you work with. As far as what I did in my schooling, I worked with wood, but I also did the plumbing and the welding, so I got to work with metal as well. If you're working more in residential builds, yeah, I mean, wood is definitely going to be your main material that you work with. Once you get into building houses, you also have your concrete that for forming, doing your foundations, and you're going to be working with all the materials inside of a house. So there's lots of materials to work with, but the basics is wood. And you learn all about different types of wood and how it works. But I mean, until you actually work with it, that's the best way to figure out how it's how to work with it, I guess.
And Jamie, with regard to the materials used in wood, in terms of the physical nature of your experience so far, what would people expect from that kind of work?
You mean as far as like the actual physical work of it?
Mm-hmm.
So far from everything I've experienced, I don't think there's anything that is not going to be physically possible. There's a lot of machines now in the world, but you definitely want to be physically active, I guess, because it is, especially carpentry, you're going to be working outside, and you're going to be lifting heavy materials. And so I mean, that's definitely something to take into consideration. But there are other areas of carpentry as well. There's cabinet makers and lots of stuff you can do inside with smaller materials as well. So I think there's definitely an avenue for everyone.
Excellent, thank you. I think it's good to know how you have a skill, but then what's my day-to-day really going to look like? So that's a good example of it could vary depending on which path you take with that particular trade. So it's a good reminder for sure. I'll go back to Harley. Did you have another question prepared, Harley?
Yes, I did. This question is from Sienna. She asked, were there any specific people, for example, family members or friends, who encouraged you to become a carpenter?
I would say that my mom has always been my biggest backer in everything that I've done. She's always pushed me to do what I'm scared of, I guess. Not scared of, but I think looking back to when I was in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I didn't really realize what I wanted to do until I was almost 30, and that's okay. I've always had a very supportive family that way, though, that has encouraged me to try different things. My best friend is a guy, and he is a carpenter, so he's definitely helped me along the way, and encouraging me and being someone that I could talk to. And then also my mom's best friend is not a carpenter, but she is a amazing woodworker on her own. It's just something that she's always done and kind of puttered at. So she's definitely someone that I think I looked up to. And even when someone that was younger, I realized that it was something that I was interested in and something I could do. So I think kind of everyone, I shouldn't say you are who you're around, but definitely if you surround yourself with supportive people, that's kind of a main thing to achieving whatever goals you want.
Great answer. Great answer. And it's really the essence of why we're here today is, role models, mentorship. It's so critical in these non-traditional roles for us to see and hear how we as women can succeed. So thank you for that. Thank you for sharing your story. Because if we can see you, we can be you. Reagan, I think you have another question.
Yes. This one's from Mary. What was your job before this?
Oops, sorry. Okay, so I kind of talked about this when I'll kind of give you guys more of a look at my background. So when I graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So I worked for a couple years, just serving. And then I went to school 2 years after I was out of high school. I went to school for hospitality management. I don't know why I did. I think I felt the pressure to go to school, and because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, I felt like it was maybe a program that would kind of open up some avenues for me. Once I got out of that, I went right back to serving, so it didn't really get me into a different part of that industry. But while I was serving, I met someone and they told me about an opportunity with CN Rail, and I applied. I definitely did not think I was going to get in, but I did. So I worked there for 7 years. I worked as a laborer, it was definitely very hard and very eye-opening. That one was definitely hard. You work in all types of weather. You're going to be slugging a sledgehammer. There's nothing glamorous about that job at all. But I also worked my way up and I became a foreman in a very short amount of time. And yeah, so that was the basis of my career in my 20s. But I traveled a lot. I worked long days, and I wanted to have a family. So I think I definitely could have stayed there and had a family, but it maybe wasn't exactly where my heart was set at. So I made a tough decision to leave that job. Yeah, as much as I loved it, I knew it wasn't completely where I wanted to spend the rest of my life. So I was still kind of looking for something. So that's kind of the basis. And then from there, I've worked a few side jobs. I've worked at a winemaking place, and I've worked for residential, for new build construction cleaning, going in and cleaning all the new houses once they're built in subdivisions. So I've done a few things, but my main career in my 20s was definitely working on the railroad.
That is a very interesting background, and you're the first person I know to have done that particular job. What an interesting experience, and I'm sure provided you with a lot of insight even for what you'll do in your future. So good for you, Jamie. I think, Harley, are we down to our last question for you at this point?
I have one other question. Yeah, I do.
Okay, very good. Go ahead.
Okay, so what kinds of things can we do if we are interested in learning carpentry as a 12 to 13-year-old?
Okay, so I kind of talked about this a little bit, and don't quote me on this. Definitely talk to your teachers, because I don't remember this being around when I was your age, and maybe it was, and I just wasn't introduced to it. But there is OYAP programs, which gives you an insight into the trades. I know one of my teachers at Fleming, she teaches it for plumbing. And then I also know that there is carpentry ones. So that's definitely something to look at. Another big thing would be study your math. We talked about this one. Study your math. Pay attention to math. It is something that will take you throughout whatever career you go into. I promise you, you will use math. but also get your hands dirty. Try building things at home. See if you're interested in that stuff. I mean, you don't need big fancy tools to make yourself a toolbox at home. I mean, I did it all with hand tools. I'm sure you can find hand tools around your garage maybe, or but yeah, I think the big thing is trying different things when you're young to see what you have an interest in. I don't feel like I had those opportunities, or maybe I did and I didn't take them because I didn't, aside from my parents, I didn't really feel like I had a whole lot of guidance that way. I definitely didn't have what you guys have as far as this Mentor Monday. I would have loved to have actually been able to talk to someone and ask them questions. And I don't know how this, but I would definitely be open to talking to any one of you guys on the side if you have questions as well, to be a mentor, because I think it's definitely a big thing. But if you're interested in something, find someone you can talk to and try to see if it's something that you are actually going to like. Figure out all the terrible things about the job, but mostly they're all great things about the job. So definitely ask questions.
That's great. Thank you, Jamie. We're going to go over to Regan now to ask the last student question. And Regan, I'll get you to ask the very last question from the list, the additional list, because I think that's a really good one.
The next question is from Sienna. When you first became a carpenter, were there other women there at first, or was there something that started to happen later on?
Okay, so I'm going to talk about my schooling. So the program I got into, we had to first send in a resume and cover letter, or maybe I should step back. We had to go to an orientation first. And when I was at the orientation, there was, I don't know, a couple hundred people, and there were a lot of girls there. There was definitely a lot of girls there. And then we went through the applying and the interviewing, and there ended up being 3 out of 20. So that's a pretty low percentage. It would have been nicer to see more, but I think even that is a step in the right direction. As far as in my past, when I worked at CN, there wasn't a lot of girls there, but as I was leaving, they were starting to hire more girls, and I think now they've definitely grown. So it is something that is changing and becoming more normal is for girls to get into these male jobs. So I don't really look at them as male jobs, even though they are. But you just have to look at what you want to do and do it. Don't let anything stand in your way of that. Don't let the fact that you're a girl and someone tells you you can't. You can do anything you want to do. And I hope that there is going to be more girls getting into the industry as hopefully when you guys are ready to go to work, hopefully there's going to be lots of them.
Jamie, thank you so much. If you can see me, you can be me. Jamie, you have helped us see what it means to be you in a little bit, but through, thank you so much. I had my eyes open. I've got my undergrad in computers, master's of engineering. Math for me was always easy, but I never knew how to use it later on in life. I didn't know why it was important. I just like puzzles, and math to me is like a big puzzle. I love mysteries, and math sometimes starts as a mystery, then you solve it. So that's why I liked math. And now when I looked at all your photos of all those angles, yeah, I could see how algebra would have been important and geometry would have been important so that was, I had no idea. But thank you so much. I have one last question for you, which I think you might have kind of answered, but I'm going to ask it anyways. And then I also wanted to just let everyone know that our next Mentor Monday, as we were doing this live, got an email from the school board saying that the February 1st is actually a PA day. So we will not have Mentor Monday on February 1st. We will have it on the second Monday of February. So they are watching us, which is great. So Jamie, the last question that I'd like to ask, and then then I'll be handing over to Rhonda to wrap up and thank everyone so much for joining us today. Jamie, what advice would you give to yourself, your grade 7 self, your grade 12 self, your age 12 in grade 7? What advice would you give to yourself if you could go back in time and there you are, big Jamie talking to little Jamie? What advice would that be?
The biggest advice I would give myself is to not be so concerned with what everyone else is doing. I think that I was always really good in school. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I was good in school throughout public school. And then I went to high school and everything went downhill. I just kind of fell victim to what was cool or what everyone else was doing. And I let my own self get lost in that. So I think the biggest thing, if I could go back, would be to stay true to myself and to work towards what I want to do, not what everyone else is doing. That's definitely, I think, the biggest thing. Even throughout all of high school, that would be the biggest piece of advice if I could do something differently. Yeah, and I think maybe to reach out more to different people, talk to people more and find out, because I felt very lost in high school as far as what I wanted to do. I remember there was a point that I thought I wanted to be a hairdresser because all my friends wanted to be hairdressers, and I didn't want to be a hairdresser, but I think definitely doing these programs is going to help girls and give them someone to talk to and show them the different jobs that are out there. Because yeah, I don't feel like I really knew the possibilities that I could have. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is stay true to yourself and don't follow the crowd.
Thank you, Jamie, for sharing your story. It's very inspiring. And, we hear over and over from young women like yourself that grade 7 or 8 self, it really is about the mentorship and the role models and confidence. I think you're talking about confidence and having the confidence to step forward and do what you dream instead of what maybe your friends are thinking. So young girls on the call, young people on the call, be your true self. That's really what we want. We want you to engage in all the subjects so that all of the options are open for you and the world can be your oyster. That's what this is all about. So I am going to wrap things up. So a huge thank you to Jamie today for being our mentor and our role model. And you can see the video that Jamie has produced with us, if you haven't already seen it, at our summit in the fall, but you can see that on our website, FemSteamPtbo. Thank you to our questionnaires, and that would be Reagan and Harley. Thank you so much. Thank you to my co-hosts, Sofie and Dawn, and thank you for Kate and the Innovation Cluster for all the work you did to put this on. And mostly thank you for the teachers and the students for participating. There was a couple of wrap-up questions. You're wondering how long Mentor Monday's been around. Well, you're here to witness the second ever Ptbo, FemSteamPtbo Mentor Monday, and it won't be the last. We're going to continue this throughout the year. We want to keep you engaged in this subject matter. You heard a lot about Fleming School of Trades today. guess what? Next year, when we look at our annual summit event, hopefully we can do it live. We don't know, but you're going to be, regardless, you're going to be taking a look at that facility. Every other year we go between Trent and Fleming, and so we'll be back at Fleming next year, and we'll get to see firsthand, or at least virtually, that amazing facility. So we look forward to seeing you all again on Monday, February 8th for the third Mentor Monday, and we'll be getting more information on the subject matter and the mentor for that Monday. And if there are mentors in the Zoom sphere today that want to get involved with this, please reach out to us through the website. You can get our contact details. But thank you, everyone. If you can see me, you can be me. Keep your mind open to all the possibilities for your future, and have a great day today.